Thank you, Linda. Okay, roll call, please.
Ackley,
Here.
Allen,
Here.
Ambrose,
Here.
Atwell, Blair,
Here.
Easter, Hernandez. Yep. Rutland,
Here.
Marshall,
Here.
Schuman, Wodorowski.
All right, fabulous, we have a quorum. Any requests for agenda changes? No requests for agenda changes. Approval of the minutes from February 11th, 2020 DDA meeting.
Move approval.
I'll second.
Support, all in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Viewed. Audience participation. Nice to see all these fresh smiling faces out there.
Hi there, Gabriel Costanzo, Wall Lake City Councilman. I'd like to talk about the public safety campus expansion. When I first brought up this empty field last June, I wanted to have this property appraised per our city charter and to sell it, getting back on our tax rolls, generating revenue for our city. In my opinion, we have an extremely underutilized asset lying around that we, the residents, paid over $1.2 million for, not including the cost for the contamination cleanup. Think of it this way. If I have something that's not being used and I can get a return on my money, I sell it. I'm sure many of you do the same thing at home. If you have something that's not of value that you can get some money back for just laying around. At that time, I amended my motion to establish a committee for a study session to research all the opportunities for this property. That was in Council Motion 6/13/19 on June 18th, 19. Since the unanimous passage of that motion, nothing has been presented beyond this public safety campus expansion to council for the various opportunities associated to this property. One option available is we need to consider moving our farmers market to our historic downtown district across from the beach. Rather than having a farmer's market on a Wednesday morning when most residents are at work, let's change it to a Saturday or Sunday morning when most people are at home. Our farmer's market would be so much more and another key part in creating a vibrant downtown district. I believe that other options as well for our farmer's market, such as locating at the Michigan Airline Trailhead, or it can even be both in some fashion. No matter what, both places will have people biking or walking to the farmer's market, bringing people into our community and supporting both our businesses and our tax base. Again, living in Realville, the need for a facility like this in our community is just, we're a small community. There's no justification for this project or what is going on there. We're just too tiny. We've been training for years with other communities and at other facilities. We are surrounded by larger municipalities such as Commerce, Wixom, Novi, that are right there if needed. We are not Chicago, we are not New York, that can justify a need for an expense on a facility such as this. We seem to be making the city office complex more of a priority rather than meeting the long overdue needs across our downtown and in our neighborhoods. Let's not forget that we just passed the public safety millage last August, and there are no guarantees that those or general funds will not be used here or have ever been used in some capacity around the engineering costs. What we need to be doing is saving every dollar collected in that public safety millage. I'll be done. One last sentence here. Again, in my opinion, this project could easily become a giant boondoggle that could easily get out of control with the costs. In reality, I suspect that we end up using DDA funds, general funds, or even the public safety millage funds while spending a ton of money on engineering designs and project construction while ignoring the more pressing needs across all of Wall Lake. This is how I have felt on the public safety campus expansion and why I voted no against it.
Anybody else in the audience?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Jerry Millen, 103 East Wall Lake, owner of the greenhouse. I'd just like to go on record as there's some people that are spreading false rumors, like Costanzo back here, our council member, that the DDA has contributed to the parking lot that we purchased on the corner, the old Pepino's lot. And I'd just like to go on the record that the greenhouse fully paid for that parking lot. No city funds have been given. If they have, I haven't received them. So if you guys want to send a check, feel free. But as long as Councilmember Costanzo keeps spreading these false rumors, I don't appreciate it. So I just want to put that on the record. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else?
Yeah, Neil Wolfson, 565 Windward Court. I'm also on the Public Safety Committee. I'd like to bring up one important point out, I think, about the Public Safety Campus. There is going to be, as far as we know, it's going to be done with forfeiture funds. This will pay for it. Right now, the city does, with general funds, pay for cleanup and just general upkeep of that with the farmer's market. Now, some people thought they'd like to move the farmer's market downtown to by across from the beach, but where? We don't own that property. That's probably all private property. Now, if they'll let us use it to do it, that's something else. But this place gives us the opportunity to have a staging area, other activities and things over here. I mean, in a way, it's one way of looking at it. What do we want to do with the city? If we say we want to sell this and get the money for that to do something else, well, maybe somebody has a good idea with that. If we're gonna do that, why don't we sell the park over there, the what's the name's park?
Riley?
Sten's Park, right. And sell that. I mean, we could get builders that would love that whole area to all kinds of nice homes, and we could get money for that. And while we're doing that, gee whiz, why don't we sell the beach? What do we need the beach for? I mean, that takes a lot of upkeep. I'm sure there's some builders would love to build a nice house on there, and that would bring in all kinds of money. But I don't think the people of Walled Lake would like us to sell the beach or to sell the park. I mean, that's part of what we have. We have to have certain things. We have to have art. We have to have music. We have to have different things. We have to have things for people to do. And that's what can be done with this Public Safety Commission, this campus as well. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Well said.
Anyone else? Okay, we'll close audience participation and move into unfinished business. Doesn't look like anything in unfinished business. Moving into new business, executive director report.
Let's start with the, since Mr. Millen is here, and spoke about the, false statements made by people, including the councilman. Let me say, as executive director and city manager, no money has been spent on any parking lot downtown. The parking lot was purchased by a separate company, which I think Mr. Millen owns. It's in a different name. The association between the city and or the DDA comes in the past when the property belonged to what everybody knows as Pepino's. The city had an agreement with them to share the right-of-way. The agreement provided access from what is a municipal parking lot, but beside the Riley Park, so that they could turn into the Pepino's, the old Pepino's parking lot. It also entered on the Wall Lake side, so that you had a flow of traffic. What I'm working on with Mr. Millen and will be bringing by the city council is a similar agreement for shared access, so that all of that can be used for parking for all of the communities down there. We'll be talking about that a little bit in a second, but the parking down there has been shared by Mr. Millen's company and Mr. Millen with all of downtown, and he's already got agreements with neighboring properties. City's not paid anything, but we do need an agreement so we can share the access, which is critical to the traffic flow for all of the businesses down there. So every business that's on the cross from the park all the way down to Pontiac is gonna be able to use that parking lot from time to time and to move up the road. So I'll be bringing to the city council to next meeting a proposed agreement that shares access to that, and that's because Mr. Millen and I have been working on that agreement. very similar to what was in place with Pepinos for years. The shared access, and it's about traffic flow, it's about allowing the business owners, it's improving downtown. It doesn't matter if somebody has a political dislike for Mr. Miller. He's a business owner, he's invested $1 million or more downtown, and that's the biggest investment we've had in literally in years. And he's invested in areas that will actually improve all of downtown. Mr. Millens would be the beneficiary of the sidewalk improvements if we get that done. If the surveys come in and we're able to do that, we don't just do one part of downtown, we're gonna do the whole thing. And it will take a complete redo, probably ADA compliant. So you're gonna need parking, shared parking that does match what we're proposing. So all of that comes into play, but that's on the table. Mr. Millen has, not received any money from the DDA, no funds at all. I've not proposed any of that. City hasn't proposed any of that. We are proposing, and it will be on the agenda at the next council meeting, a shared agreement where the people, this will be all of the business owners of the people who do business downtown, not just the owners, will use that to improve downtown parking. And you're gonna have to walk a little bit, but we have no parking. Now, the lot across the street from the beach is private property. It's not a park. We cannot put the farmer's market down there as suggested by the councilman. That's just a false statement. It's not the city's property. It's innuendo that somehow we control that. We do not. That would cost another $500,000 to purchase it, plus you gotta create a parking lot if that's what you wanna do with a prime piece of real estate. We have a proposal coming before the city very shortly where they're gonna try to redevelop it again like they did before, some other version of residential, and whether that makes it through without the increase in political activity, but that's being proposed now. It's not being proposed for a parking lot, so we can't go down there. And since it all came up by the councilman as though it were legitimate, you can't just move the farmer's market to Saturday. The farmer's market is on Wednesday for a reason.
Why?
Other farmers markets throughout the county have set times. And if you move our farmer's market to Saturday, the people are not gonna come. It affects the vendors, it affects the users and all that. So you just don't willy-nilly decide that Saturday is the day for a farmer's market. There's a reason they picked Wednesday a long time ago, and that's where we are now. The development of the public safety campus will facilitate improved use of the farmer's market and that part of the multi-use aspect that we're putting together, including the use from the trail to be part of the trailhead. If you paid attention lately, the trailhead development hasn't gone as well as everybody thought. The first thing they did is they tore down the depot. The depot's gone. You got a parking lot there that's of no use to anybody except Aaron Industries, which parks its stuff there, and the marijuana facilities that are trying to get a business, all parked there. What the trail did is provide a great trail parking area for the marijuana facilities across the street. Two of them, well, neither one of them have a license yet. So that's what's gonna happen there. And it's for the businesses down there, but not for the trailhead. The trailhead's gonna be next year. That's up and going. We're gonna spend as much forfeiture money as we can. We're allowed by law. The councilman suspects that city money it may be used on that. I suspect that's true too. We have the votes to do it, we have the will to do it, and we have the intent to do it. We're going to develop next door and turn it into a facility that's useful for all the residents in Wall Lake. I appreciate Neil, excuse me, I appreciate Neil's kind of tongue-in-cheek remarks about selling the parks. I hope most of you knew that was tongue-in-cheek. He's talking about selling the parks. Yeah, he's absolutely right. You can do that. My analogy is you get to burn your firewood only 1 year. You get to burn your furniture if you don't wanna cut the fireworks. You can do that, but you can do it for 1 year. Selling your parks off and getting some political advantage for the year or for the week or for that election, it doesn't work the next election, because you can only do it one time. We brought the property, he's right about that, Councilman Spack is about the only thing he got right, 1.1 million. They bought it years ago before I ever arrived, and some of the folks were here to develop it as a facility for the city. And that's what we're gonna do with it, that was the original intent, and we found a way to fund most of it, if not all of it. Yes, I expect we'll ask for DDA to improve this facility beyond public safety uses, because it is a multi-purpose facility. So that's what we're gonna do with the facility next door. I hope I've touched on all the issues that the councilman
We
brought up.
interrupted. Mr. We interrupted the committee, do you have
I
something?
have a question. So, we're working with Mr. Millen on the property across the street for parking that will be available to all businesses in downtown.
It's available now.
No,
It's the connection.
No, he's correct. It will be available to all businesses and public
Well,
usage,
it
okay?
depends on what the agreement
Well,
will be.
right, it depends on the
We're
agreement, of course.
working on that.
Okay.
But it's no
We're
different.
working on it, but until you
Right.
approve it as a council,
The-
we don't
A
have
lot of us,
anything.
Okay,
a lot of us were here when the agreement was put together with Pepino's. And we
Yes.
shared in the cost of putting the connector in between Pepino's property and our municipal parking lot. So there was a good ebb and flow, people had access to it through numerous different ways, and increased the parking overall downtown, okay? It was a good deal for everybody, because everybody benefited.
You
Right.
paid some of the parking lot to connect those two
Correct.
years ago.
Right.
That's not necessary at this point under the.
Well, but I'm just giving you some
right now.
history as far as our
Yes.
agreement with Pepino's,
For
what that
years.
was all
Yeah,
about
for
for years, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Nobody had a problem with Pepino's, nobody was running that up, down the pole and saying all kinds of things about them, okay? We do what we believe is in the best interest of the business, community, and district, okay?
Mr.
That's the
Miller has
downtown
private
development
agreements,
authority's
he
job.
has current agreements with the neighbors there, that weren't in agreement with, the
Right.
previous Pepino ownership, they didn't necessarily get along. But he settled that dispute, and I'm thinking this helps a whole lot downtown. It doesn't matter your politics, if you need parking, you need parking. And there is a parking issue,
Always been a parking issue. Okay.
well,
And that's the reason for a lot of businesses coming in and going out, because they don't have the parking, and then there is no place to park. And I believe that Mr. Miller's reached out to the businesses and asked their employees to park over there, to open up a lot of that street parking. Okay, let me touch on a few things that you said, there was a lot going on.
Can I just finish?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. So, just a friendly suggestion, maybe, to Mr. Millen. I see that his sign says public welcome, and to me, that means public welcome to go to his business. So maybe if you wanna add to your sign that says public parking welcome, or just make it look that it's more open to
Parking
everybody.
for everyone, you know.
And that's just a friendly recommendation.
we
and
can
take it
work
as
that
you want.
into the
Yeah,
agreement.
I think public sounds pretty public.
Yeah,
It-
well, you
I
can
know,
decide.
but
We can
he's a-
actually work that into the agreement.
Yeah.
He
It's
was a
not in there.
business that was
Yes.
only like.
Listen,
it's only
everybody
now
already
it's
down there
more
knows they can
open.
park, everyone already knows they can park there.
Okay.
There's very few that have a problem with using it because
It does look like public welcome to the greenhouse, though, it does appear. to
I just
be.
wanted to offer,
Let me clean it up,
that's fine.
whatever, no big deal. On the farmer's market, I was here when the farmer's market was created, and we contacted numerous vendors, and that was exactly precisely the issue. They couldn't come out if we had it at any other day, and we actually went through and sorted out the different times. Wednesday AM was the best time for that particular group of vendors to get them over there. It's the same reason when Wixom started theirs, they came after us, they're on a Thursday evening. Some think that's more beneficial, and some think Wednesday is more beneficial. So, you know, and vendors come and go. I mean, we can reach out to vendors again, maybe there's more vendors out there, maybe there's people that have some more arts and crafts and things that they might wanna be putting out there, but we're always open to it. But that was the issue at the time.
It still is an issue,
Yes.
and I think that's well known by everybody, you know, if you haven't done your research. To be able to change it, these other farmers markets have to stop functioning. They will always draw away from us. Where we are is where this community chose years ago, it's still the right place. It's also the right place there at the public safety campus, multi-purpose use, multi-use, to be there, and that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to use the public safety concept to provide training for our police and fire. The concept that they can train somewhere is a bizarre concept, that it makes good sense to go to some other community, send all of our firemen there. And the councilman's opposed to that